Hello and welcome to my final audio recording for this term project. For this recording, we're going to focus on parents' use of the internet and how that in itself is affecting childhood development. Now, the role of the caregiver needs to be analyzed always when considering childhood development due to the fact that children are independent. Especially when children are infants and toddlers, the caregivers have a huge role in the way in which their development is going to go and a huge role in their everyday lives. So, arguably, when studying infants and toddlers, the role of the caregiver may be more important to look at than what's going on with the actual child. One of the main things that parents have been found to use the internet for is to look for health information surrounding their child. A study done by Skrenes et al. In 2014 in Norway found that the internet was the main way in which parents found out health information regarding their child. Furthermore, parents felt had more of a sense of self-efficacy when they found the information themselves online, meaning that they felt that they could take care of their child better themselves. However, as many of you may know, not information found online is truthful. Therefore, Martland and Rothbaum set out in 2006 to find out ways to give parents suggestions in order to curb the manner in which they look up information online. The researchers came up with 3 critical questions that the parents should ask themselves when looking up information online. The first question is to ask themselves, do I know where this site is coming from? So make sure that it is a .edu or a .gov site when you're looking up health information. The second question is, who wrote this information? Look for authors and make sure that it's coming from a credible source. The third question is to ask, where do these ideas come from? This means looking at the references and making sure that the things that are being cited in what you're reading are coming from accurate, reliable sources. Next, I'm going to conduct a short interview with my mom, Margaret Borsha, and get a view of what she thinks about parenting and technology and the internet together. Listed here are some important demographic factors about her, but I think she has a really unique sense of how the internet affects childhood development due to the wide range of her children's ages. I'm the oldest, and I'm 22, and her youngest is just entering high school. Therefore, when I was younger, technology and internet was not as big of a prevalence, but with my younger siblings, it was much more relevant and a bigger factor in how they developed. So let's hear from my mom, Margaret Borsha. So I'm here with my mom doing a short little interview. And so the first question I have for your mom is, over the past couple decades, how do you think that the internet has changed the way in which children develop?
Well, I think that before the internet, children, if they had a dispute at school, they'd have time to cool off and they'd come back the next day and they'd make up and everything would be fine. Now, all the kids say mean things to each other on the internet, back and forth. There's bullying that never occurred, and it can be really vicious bullying that is without a name. And it is increased. On one hand, it's been good because it's increased their um, ability to get information for like school projects, and they're more well informed. But on the other hand, I think that they live with this in the society where everybody posts everything they do every minute of the day, and they become obsessed with it, and the kids can't live without their phones. And and I think it takes what could sometimes be a minor disagreement between children and escalate it to a giant fight where all the other kids take sides, and there's really you look at the cases of these people, kids being viciously bullied to the point where they kill themselves. um, that never, I mean, there's bullying at school, but when you went home, you were done with it. Now, even parents there are cases where the parents get involved in bullying other kids. I can remember one case where the mother because her daughter didn't get picked for cheerleading. Her and the daughter viciously bullied this girl, made up stories about them, about her, to the point where she actually killed herself. And so I think in that way, it's not been good. In a lot of ways, it has been good.
Okay, so my second question for you is, in your opinion, do you think the internet has had more positive or more negative effects on childhood development?
Well, I think it has a very positive effect on childhood development, where there was a lot of, academic things that you could have your kids watch and interact, and they can learn their colors and their ABCs and math, and you know those things are very good for child development. Um, I think the more negative effect is on their social development. So I think academically, yes, it has a positive effect. Socially, my personal opinion is that it has had a negative effect.
Okay, for my last question, I'm going to ask you whether you've noticed that technology affects your younger children differently or the same as has it affected the development of your older children.
Well, I think the older children used it less, and the younger children, and I almost have to divide this between boys and girls, because girls are glued to their phones. They're glued to, you know, Instagram, Snapchat, and everything that's going on. Boys, to some effect, are, but not nearly as much. Um, so I would almost divide it between boys and girls instead of younger and older. My children are, the older children still had all those things. Um, but I definitely see a difference between boys and girls on the internet, and girls, in my opinion, seem to be more catty and bullying with each other than boys do.
Okay, thank you. That concludes my project. Thanks for listening, and here's a list of my references. Hope you learned something new. Thanks.